So welcome everyone. This is our fourth out of 6 series on our Marketing Academy. So thank you for taking the time and investing in your business, investing in yourself. I always believe that anytime you're continuing your education, it's always a good use of time. So if this is your first class, my name is Julie Wright. I'm the brand director of Tally Creative. We're a full service marketing agency in Grand Island, Nebraska, and we service businesses all the way from 100 to 1,000 employees. And I'm just here today to share knowledge with you. This is a very casual class, so feel free to ask questions. You can just unmute yourself. You can raise your little hand and I'll call on you when I get to a stopping point. You can use a chat box if that's easier. But feel free to ask questions, to ask for clarification, to ask for examples. I also have included my contact information at the end. And so if there's anything specific, a specific question, a circumstance, if you want us to look over something you've been working on, feel free to reach out and we're happy to take some additional time with you and talk about something more of a specific need. So first, I'm just going to share my screen here. And so today our topic is creating impactful call to actions. And this is something that I think is very important. Once that foundation is laid, you really have to get the business. And one great way to do that is using these call to actions. So we're going to talk about the difference between a hard sale and a soft sale. We're going to talk about different action items. And then we're also going to identify what motivates clients. And so this is our goal today. And the first step of that is really just identifying what a call to action is. Hold on just a second. Switch on my screen here. All right. So first, let's just go over a basic definition. So when you hear people talk about a call to action, sometimes it's also called a CTA. A call to action makes it clear for potential customers on which action to take next and helps remove the friction from moving the user down the sales funnel. So really what we're trying to do is be helpful. Oftentimes when we start talking about sales, people get uncomfortable because they automatically think that, we're selling something, we're you salesmen, I don't want to be pushy, but we're really not being pushy at all. Really what we're doing is we're removing the friction to help our customers. And so one way to get better at sales is to switch your mindset from being a pushy salesperson to helping your customer at that next step. If you walk into a store and you don't know, you've never been there before, you're looking for shoes, you don't know where the shoe section is, you want a salesperson to help you direct you in the right direction. That's removing the friction from you walking in the store to buying the shoes you want. And so really when you think about it, anytime we're removing friction during that sales funnel, all we're doing is helping that customer move along. We're not trying to scam them or convince them. We're not trying to take their money. We're just a very helpful salesperson that's helping them removing that friction. So when we talk about that sales funnel a little bit, really what that just means is you're going to get a lead coming in all the way from maybe that first conversation, that sales call or that discovery meeting. Maybe they actually walk in your store. Then you're going to do that follow-up. You're maybe going to ask them some questions, get that conversation going. And the last step is that sale. And so this is a sales funnel that we're talking about, that there's always friction along the way. When we talk about friction in sales funnels, it could be anything from, they need to save up, they're shopping around, they need to talk to their spouse, maybe now's not a good time. There's all different, maybe they're waiting for a sale or a better price. There are all different ways that we have friction in our sales funnel. Now, some of those ways of friction, sometimes we can't avoid those. If they have to save money, that's just part of it. We could remove some friction off possibly by offering financing or letting them pay later. That'd be one way to remove friction. But sometimes there's just friction, and that's okay. But our job is to remove as much friction as possible while being helpful and not being pushy. So we're going to talk about that today. Is everyone kind of on the same page as far as what a call to action is? Every time we talk about it, really think about you're just removing friction for them. You're not tricking them. You're not scamming anyone. You're just removing some friction. All right, so let's take a look at what removing friction really looks like here. And it really talks, can everyone see my screen back over here again? I'm on a new monitor today. Okay. To share friction, what it really looks like is this slide icon. Can everyone see the slide here? I don't know that I'm sharing. Hold on just a second. Let me share my screen again. Okay. When we think about a friction, let's think a little bit about a slide. Have you guys ever gone down a slide, especially as an adult, and you got stuck partway, right? And you kind of have to like scoot your way down the slide. So view this as your sales funnel, okay? There's a lot of different turns and twists to get stuck on. But then have you ever gone to the fair where they give you one of these burlap sacks and you can zoom right down, zero friction, right? You can fly off that sucker. So when we think of call to actions, really what we're thinking of is all we're doing is providing the burlap sack. Again, they made the choice to go down the slide. We're just providing the sacks to reduce that friction. So it can look a lot of different ways. These call to actions can look a lot of different ways. The main two categories we're going to talk about today are hard sales and soft sales. And there's a time and a place for both. And then there's also, depending on the person, people relate to a hard sale or a soft sale more. So first we need to learn what they are and what they look like, and then we'll identify who you would use a hard sale versus soft sale for. All right, so a hard sale, or we might be called a hard sell, they're interchangeable. A hard sell refers to an advertising or sales approach that features especially direct and instant language. A hard sell is designed to get a consumer to purchase a good or service in the short term, rather than evaluate his or her options or potentially decide or wait on the purchase. So oftentimes, just for a way to remember, we're going to remember this kind of as seen on TV. When we talk about as seen on TV, we've all seen those infomercials. It's click now, call now, order now, we'll throw in a pillow, we'll throw in a book light, we will, free shipping. We want people to buy right now before they get distracted, before they move on to the next thing, before they look too hard at their bank account or talk to a spouse. When we're talking these hard sales, we're removing the friction so that they can buy it right now. So this can look a couple different ways. Online, a hard sell often looks like a very easy and well-placed button. So if you're doing things online, a call to action for a hard sale would be any of these. Activate my account, sign up now, inquire now, try it free, buy now, add to cart. These are all call to actions for a hard sale. They're giving you the option right now to do something that's going to move down the sales funnel and remove friction. If you were online shopping and you found a shirt that you really liked, but there's no way to add it to your cart, that adds a lot of friction. Let's say that you had to write down the order number, and then you had to go to another website and you had to type in the order number, or you had to scroll through pages and pages of inventory, and then you had to click it. And then let's say you had to go to another site to check out, and then let's say you had to do another site to enter your shipping information. Would you guys agree that's a lot of friction to make that sale? Right? And every step of friction, every time we're adding a curve in our tornado slide, we have the possibility of losing that sale. If somebody gets stuck, it's very likely for them to say, nope, it's not worth it, or to second guess themselves or to not do it. So again, we need to make this path as fast and as easy as possible with these call to actions. So in that same example, if I'm shopping online and I like find a shirt that I like, and I can add it to cart or buy now, right now. And let's say that and you can see that online, it has advanced so fast that, let's use Amazon for example. Not only can I add something to my cart, I can also click buy now. All my credit card information is saved. All my shipping address is saved. My shipping options are saved. So on Amazon, they have figured out a way to not only give you a burlap sack, but to give you, a burlap sack that's been greased, because it is so easy to buy. They have removed all of that friction for you, which makes it a lot easier to buy. Now, I know that we're not all Amazons, but there are a lot of ways that we can work on taking away that friction in our own businesses, so that one step goes into the next step that goes into the next step. Call to actions are also a great way to hint what you prefer. So let's say that you want someone to set up a free quote. So what you want them to do is set up the free quote, but we need to give them a friction-free way to do that. Now, we could say call, email, stop by, and set up a free quote, and that gives them 3 options. But if we want to remove friction on our side, let's say that we really prefer that they fill on the online form versus calling. So we're going to make the fill this online form out the easiest option with the least amount of friction. We're going to make that button big. We're going to make it easy to use. And then they may still be able to call to set up the free quote, but we're going to make a little more friction. So we might put our phone number small at the bottom. Can they still do it? Yes. But we're adding a little more friction, which means most people will always choose the path of least resistance, and they'll use a big shiny button versus looking for a phone number. Does that make sense when we talk about hard sales? Now, I kind of went over how we do hard sales online, but let's talk a little bit how we do hard selling. I'm gonna stop this. Let's talk a little bit about how we do hard selling in person. There we go. Can everyone see this presentation here? Thumbs up. Can you guys see that okay? All right. So in person, what does it look like to do a hard sale? It might be having contracts ready to go. It might be having electronic contracts if you're doing business over the phone. It might be having them set up their automatic payment on the spot, or setting up invoicing information on the spot. So that's what removing that friction looks like when you're in person. If you, let's say, go do a free quote and you're talking to them and they're ready to go, they're ready to sign up with you, but now you don't have anything to do the next step, you just added friction to that sales funnel. So if you say, okay, you're ready today, great. All you need to do is go to our website, download the contract, print it off, sign it, go get it notarized, and then send it back. That adds a lot of layers of friction, and that's gonna, every one of those steps is gonna stall people down that funnel. And so we need to make it as simple as possible. If someone's ready to sign up that day, you should have a contract or some kind of agreement that day that they can sign to commit. If they decide that they want to set up an appointment, you should have your calendar ready right there where you can set up the appointment right then. If someone wanted to set up an appointment and you said, that's great, all you need to do is call my secretary tomorrow during business hours. You just created friction in that call to action. And the odds of them doing that have decreased from if you just had a calendar right there, you could get that appointment on the calendar. Does anyone have questions over that hard sale, or does anyone have obstacles that you have found when you're trying to get a sale that day that have been hard to overcome? Does anyone have a good example of how they do hard sales right now in their business? All right. One way we do it in our business is we try to be very fast with quotes. So that if someone requests a quote, it doesn't always happen, but we try to get those out in an easy way, and we let them sign electronically. So that when they do get a quote, if it looks good, they can sign it electronically, they can sign the contract electronically, and it comes right back to us. So that they don't have to print the quote, sign the quote, mail the quote, because every step, whether it's finding an envelope, finding a stamp, getting it in the mailbox, every single one of those steps is friction that can stop the sales funnel. We find that most people are making their decisions and shopping online about 10 o'clock at night. And so again, if you're laying in bed, scrolling, and you find something you want to do, the odds of you being still interested in the next morning and taking the effort to printing, signing, putting in an envelope, writing a check, putting on a stamp, finding the address, walking to the mailbox, that just isn't going to happen as much as it used to. And so that's why we have to find call to actions that work not only for us, but also for our clients.
Hey, Julie.
Yes.
One of the things that I like about working with you is like when I get a quote, you'll list all the things that we've talked about. So in the quote, I can check the box that I want this, and I might skip the next one and I want this. So there might be 5 things there.
Right.
And I select 2 of them and hit the button, accept, and it's done. And
right.
that makes it so easy, instead of asking for a quote and then 30 days later, you're still waiting.
Yes. You know? Thank you. Yeah, we've gotten to a lot of those. If they ask for even, what would this be? We've done more of a menu option. Yeah, where you can check it, because we found that if we added 5 things to the quote and the client only wanted 3, they would have to ask for a revised quote. We'd have to revise the quote. We'd have to get it back to them. Let's say that now they only want to do 2. We'd have to do another revised quote and get it back to them. So yeah, we've removed some friction by having that menu option. So if you only want 3 of the 5, just check 3 and the total calculates. We use a really easy software called 17hats.com, and it's what helps us make our quotes. And it helps us remove that friction. All right. If there's no questions, are there any questions over hard sales? Do you guys see how using call to actions for hard sales is a lot different than being a salesperson or a pushy salesperson? Oftentimes hard sales gets in like you're a used car salesman and you're just trying to get the deal and you're trying to, pass some, hide something underneath, or you're trying to get them to buy before they really look into it. And that's not the case at all. We'll talk about the different people that are buyers, and about 1/3 of the population are ready to buy. They're pretty fast decision makers, and they're ready to buy about any time. And so all you have to do is make it easy for them. If you think of the ads seen on TV, QVC is very successful because they make it so easy to buy. They make you get payments that you can call now, you can email, you can text, you can, whatever way, because they make it really easy to buy. All right. Now let's talk about the difference between a hard sale and a soft sale. So again, when we talk about hard sales, we're making them easy for the buy right now. We're removing the friction so that as soon as they're ready to buy, they can buy. And we're telling them how we want them to buy. We're telling them if we want them to call now, click here, register now. We're telling them what to do next to help them buy. Just like if you walk in a store and you say, where are the shoes? Someone will walk you to the shoes because they're removing the friction. Stores like Hy-Vee have even learned that by walking you to the item, that removes less friction than telling you it's in aisle 7. Because even if it's in aisle 7, you might get distracted, you might not make it to aisle 7. And so stores like Hy-Vee walk you to the item because they have found that removes friction. So when we talk about hard sales, we want someone to buy today, right now, and we're going to remove any obstacle we can. We're going to give them that burlap sack. Now, soft sales are different. When we talk about soft sales, oftentimes we talk about planting the seed. And I like to think about Mr. Rogers, or a really good neighbor you have. When you're talking to your neighbor, they're telling you, oh, yeah, I just had lunch the other day at, Stinger's Bar and Grill, and it was so good. And I had this Indian taco, and, they go on, but they're not telling you, go right now. It's right now. You're going to miss out. They're just telling you about it. And so you might not go that day, but you're planting that seed that next time you're hungry, that's going to come to mind. And so when we talk about soft sales, we're often talking about a future sale. We're talking about something hey, did you know? Oftentimes we're talking to existing customers. So they already know you, they already work with you. You're just letting them know of other things you could help them with because you're a good neighbor. So let's talk through that soft sale a little bit. So a soft sale or a soft sell refers to an advertising and sales approach that features subtle language and non-aggressive technique. Because soft selling is low pressure, it's not persuasive, it's subtle sales technique. It may not result in a sale the first time the product is presented, but helps encourage or repeat sales. We really like to refer as soft sales as a, hey, did you know? We're not pressuring you. We're not telling you to sign up today. We're just dropping the hint. Hey, did you know? So I made a few examples here. Let's say that you just got a new roof put on by Cheshire Roofing. And we're going to say, hey, did you know spring is a perfect time to upgrade your home's windows? Now, let's say that we're a roofing company that also does windows. We're not saying window sale, $99 off. That would be a hard sale. We're just saying, hey, did you know that spring's a good time to update your windows? That's just planting that seed in their head, but we're not asking them that day to act on it. People might not realize that my roofing company also does windows. So that's nice to know because I already trusted them with my roof. They did a great job. Now I could talk to them about my windows. Let's say that you have a loyal brand of something. Let's say it's cat food, and this is your loyal brand that you trust. Hey, did you know we also have treats? We're not telling you have to go out today and buy the treats, but it's just planting that seed of, hey, did you know if your cat already likes the cat food, they're probably going to like the treats. And so you might as well give them a try. So when we talk about the hey, did you knows, that's a way to, again, really work on those current customers that already know and trust you, and to expand into other business areas. Think of it as that neighborhood friendly person. You're simply providing information. You're not asking for anything in return. One reason, I know a couple weeks ago we talked about social media or different types of social media, and we talked about Pinterest. I would say Pinterest is a good hey, did you know site. Hey, did you know here's a recipe for cookies? Oh, by the way, our sugar brand would make really good cookies. Or, hey, did you know this is a good fall decoration? If you don't have time to make it, here's Hobby Lobby. Here, you can get it from Hobby Lobby. So it's not asking you to buy anything. It's just providing knowledge and providing something, but it's planting that seed. So let's say on Pinterest, I found a really cute spring decoration and I get all excited about it. And then I realize I don't have time to do it. If Hobby Lobby put that out on Pinterest, that logo might be in my head. So eventually when I realize I don't have time to do it, I'll just go buy it. So Hobby Lobby did not ask me to come buy it that day, but they planted the seed that's going to grow and it's going to stay in my head. What are some other good, can anyone think of any good, hey, did you know soft sales? Are there anything that you guys do in your business that would be a good soft sale?
I kind of think of those pictures on our Facebook page from previous menus, pictures of the main dish that, they can kind of scroll through those and say, yeah, oh, that looks really good. And maybe next time they'll see that on the menu and say, oh, I think I'll go.
You're right. You're planting that seed. You're not saying you can come get this today, but you're planting the seed of, or maybe you're planting the seed for them to be hungry and then they can come today for something else. But that's right. You're planting that seed. Josh, did you have one?
Yeah, I mean, I could apply that just directly to my gutter business. Hey, did you know springtime's a great time to get your gutter guards done before fall and the leaves start falling, and
Yeah.
don't have time, or so, hey, did you know your gutters can't really be done in when it's snowing and it's winter, so summertime is ideal, or just all those sort of things. Yeah, the gutter guard would be a good one, I think.
You could even do something more abstract, like a countdown, like, falls in 100 days. Now, you're not saying, come buy gutters now or get the gutter guards now, but you're saying falls in 100 days. And then from doing that with other marketing, they're going to realize that, oh, I should be on top of this. I can't believe it's only 100 days away. Stores are really good at soft sales around Christmas time. They'll say, only 6 more paychecks until Christmas, or they'll say, layaway. Now, they're not telling you have to use layaway, but that's removing the friction for you to buy early. So think, kind of start noticing the difference between a hard sale and a soft sale. So if somebody's saying, call today to get a free quote, that's a hard sale. But if they say, did you know that we offer free quotes, or free quotes always available, that's more of a soft sale, because they're just planning it in your head that they do free quotes, but they're not asking you to act on it today.
That's actually really good. I can use that specifically as well. Like just, giving countdowns like the, hey, did you know winter is coming,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good, actually. I'll probably steal that.
Absolutely do it. And one way to think about it is think of your frequently asked questions. We get asked all the time, do you guys do websites? We absolutely do websites. That's not something that we overly advertise, but because we keep getting that question, that has told us that we need to market that more, because people don't know. And so we need to put out there, even though we're kind of known for our logo creation or known for our social media, we can also do websites. So if you're getting the same question over and over, if you're getting people asking you, when's the best time to put on gutters? That's something that you should put out there, because if 1 or 2 people are asking, there's probably a lot more that are wondering that aren't asking. So I would start by just making a list of your 10 frequently asked questions and start putting those out as soft sales, and then expand from there. But don't get too technical about it. People don't need to know specifics. They don't need to know how much something costs. They don't need to know an exact figure. Like think again back to Christmas, they'll say Christmas is 7 paychecks away. They're not getting into details. They're not saying, if you get paid every 2 weeks, then, they're not getting into details. They're just kind of throwing it out there to plant that seed to get your wheels spinning. So don't overanalyze. All right, let's talk a little bit about when you would use each technique. So first we're going to talk about, there's really 3 types of buyers. And they're not exactly even, but let's pretend for this that it's 33%, 33%, 33%. Let's pretend that it's a third. It's not quite, but for this example, let's say. So there's going to be a large population that are big spenders. Now, when we say big spenders, I would say these are more impulse buyers. They don't have to spend a large amount, but these are the people that when you go to Walmart and they have all that stuff up by the register, those things are for these people, because they see a deck of cards, they see a chapstick, they see a lighter, and they just throw it in their cart because it's handy, it's easy, and they don't need to overanalyze a purchase. So maybe they don't need to ask someone. These might be people that have their own money. Maybe they are a single person. Maybe, again, money's not that tight, where they're not quite on the budget that some other people are. And so they can make a fast decision. Now, this population wants you to remove all the friction you can. So again, if they want to buy something, they just want to hand over their card and do it. They don't want it to be a long, drawn out process. The easier it can be, the better. So we need these hard sale call to actions for these big spenders or these impulse buyers. These are the people that really want electronic contracts. They don't want to have to mail things. They, even something as simple as removing the friction of, I'll just swing by your house and grab that from you. Don't worry about sticking it in the mail. Or, I'm going to be over your direction rather than waiting till next week. How about we just swing by and have a quick conversation? The one thing about big spenders or impulse buyers is they're impatient. And so let's say that they want a free quote. And if you say, yeah, I can get you in 3 weeks from tomorrow, they typically, if they're ready to buy, they want to buy. So they may call someone else that can come meet with them tomorrow or that same day. And so if you feel like someone's a big spender, an impulse buyer, you want to make things fast and easy. So it might say you might not be able to physically get to them for 3 weeks, but setting up a 5-minute phone call might be all it takes for them not to call someone else. Or saying, hey, I could swing by and we could talk about it today, and then I could get you on the calendar for later on. Josh, did you have a question about that?
Yeah, so should we be treating kind of everyone as impulse buyers if we want to make business with them, because it seems like the majority of people are that way. They'll ask for a quote for something, and then if you wait, they're even just a day later, or even just if you wait like a week, it's definitely they're not feeling the same about their enthusiasm about wanting to get the job done, so.
Yeah. And there's some questions you can definitely ask. You can say, what's your timeline on this? In a perfect world, when would you have this by? Now, if you say, in a perfect world, like we say that a lot for websites, in a perfect world, when would this go live? Now, sometimes they'll say, yesterday, or, as soon as possible. Sometimes that's not possible, but that will give you the idea that they're ready to make that decision or they're ready to move on to the next step. So let's come back to that here in just a minute as we kind of talk about these other kinds. But yeah, keep asking questions if you have any others when it comes to this. The next step is going to be your market researchers. These are going to be people that might get quotes from 4 or 5 people. They want to know all the details, and then they're going to be slow to make a decision. And so these are the people that are going to say, if you say, what's your ideal timeline? They might say, well, I'm just gathering info. They're going to not want to be pressured. They're going to say, well, I'm just gathering info at this point, but once I make a decision, I'd like it done this spring. So those are the people that are going to shop around. They're going to read through a website. They're going to want more information. So you still need to be timely with them because they're gathering info quickly, but they're not going to want to make that decision. And so these are the people that you're going to want to do more the soft sales with. No problem. Whenever you're ready, did you know that our crews come out on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Whenever you're ready. At that point, you're really helping them get information, but you're not saying sign up now or you're going to now or never. Now, the big spenders, the impulse, those can be almost now or never people because they kind of like that. If they think these are the people that love to go to the state fair and get all the deals because they're ready to make that decision and they kind of like the adrenaline. These are people that probably love auctions. If you think of auctions, our impulse big spenders probably love, auctions and garage sales and things like that because they can go, they can buy something fast. They're so proud of it. Our market researchers probably hate garage sales and auctions and things because they get there and they have to make a decision and they want to go home and they want to find out what that product is worth new or what the lifespan is or if the warranty is transferable. So you can kind of think of 2 different people. You might be thinking of people in your life that are one or the other. Now, I would say that everyone is shifting towards more of an immediate shopper just because how accessible everything is. When people are used to online and they're used to being able to buy things quickly, I would say everyone's timeline has gotten faster. The last one is our value shopper. So they're kind of in the middle. They want to do the research and they want to know what they're going to buy, but they're okay waiting until a good sale comes. And then as soon as the time's right, they're ready to buy at that point. So they're kind of in the middle. So they need that soft sale, they need the information. But then also, if you're running a spring special, sign up today and save $99, they're going to jump on at that time. And so these are the people why infomercials keep throwing in a book light, and we'll throw in a second one, and we're throwing a third thing, because the infomercials are first trying to get these big spenders, and then they're trying to kind of a last ditch effort to get these value shoppers, where I was kind of on the fence, but if you throw in a book light, okay, I'll do it. And so those are kind of the three, if you could break the population into three categories, that's kind of what we're looking at. And again, asking the good questions can help you determine which one they are. Do you guys have any questions over those three categories? Do you feel like your clients that you talk to often run into those three categories pretty evenly? Yeah. All right. Now we're going to talk about, next we're going to talk about when or how often you're going to use the different call to actions. So this is not a magic formula, but this is what we use here at Tally, and this seems to work really well. So anytime we're putting information out there, and this is more based off like a social media calendar. So this is on the most basic level. If we did a social media calendar and we were going to post 5 days a week, let's say we're going to post Monday through Friday, we're going to do 1 post per day. That's a total of 5 posts. So during that week, we would do an engaging post, an entertaining post, an educational post, a soft sale, and a hard sale. And so then you're not always doing hard sales, and you're not always saying buy now, click here, sign up, call today, and we're not being too pushy. But then our soft sales are used at planting the seeds, often for future things. And so, or things that aren't urgent. So it might be, did you know we also, did you all know we also do headshots? Or, new year, new you, or spring cleaning, fall into savings, graduations around, this year at graduation, it's going to be too late to encourage someone to redo their kitchen right now. But next January, you could start posting graduation things of, hey, now would be a good time to redo your kitchen because graduation's gonna be around the corner and you might have family or a graduation party, things like that. And so this seems to be a good formula to use. I would recommend if you do something like this, switch it up so you're not always doing your hard sales on Mondays, you're not always doing your soft sales, you're gonna switch it up and this order is gonna change. But ideally, you would be soft sailing for something maybe this week, and then a week or two later doing a hard sale for the same thing. So we're planting the seed, and then we're ready to give them the call to action that removes the friction for them to actually do it. Does that make sense? So if we're gonna push, for example, windows, we might say in early February, we might say spring's a perfect time to do windows. And then in early March, we might say, call today to book a free appointment. And then in April, we might say $50 off any full window installation. And so we're pushing the same product, but we're touching each type of buyer. So we're touching the researcher first. We're letting them have time to go to your website, time to get quotes, time to ask around. We're giving the impulse buyer a really quick, easy way to make that happen today. And then we're giving our value shopper a chance that as they've been waiting, here's your chance. All right, do you guys have any questions over that 311 or how to mix hard sales and soft sales? Anything like that? Are there any questions out there over that? All right, is this making sense to everyone? Good things? All right. So I'd really encourage you to start noticing when people are selling to you, whether it be a commercial, whether it be, typically commercials are soft sales, because they have a long lifespan. So if let's say a hospital is going to put a commercial out about their rehabilitation center, they're not telling you come today, because odds are most people watching that commercial don't need rehabilitation services that day. And typically when you're watching that commercial, it's late at night, it's early in the morning, it's on a weekend. So commercials are generally a soft sale. You know, whenever you need us, we're here for you. If you're talking to a friend, let's think back to that Mr. Rogers. If you happen to be talking to your neighbor and they need rehabilitation services, you know, mention us. It's more of a friendly neighbor of planting that seed. They say it really takes 7 times for us to see something to plant it into our brain. And so those soft sales are really just a way to plant that logo, that name, that service in the back of the brain without asking for anything at the time. But I also feel like many businesses do a lot of soft selling and they never actually remove the friction for that sale to happen. So let's say that you've been doing all this soft selling about that spring's a great time to do windows, and windows are more affordable than ever, and you can get, you know, look how much you can save on your energy bill by getting new windows. And then let's say another company, a competitor, says, you know, free quotes on windows, sign up today. That person who you've been planting all those seeds with might go to your competitor because they remove the friction to actually buy. And so there has to be a balance. There has to be letting people in a non-pressure way know about what you have to offer. But at some point, you have to ask for the sale to move people down the sales funnel. And oftentimes when businesses aren't growing or they're not hitting their sales goal, it's because they don't actually ever ask for the sale, right? Think of a sales on a car sales lot. If I show you all the features of the car and I let you test drive and I tell you all about it, I spend all this time with you, but I never ask for the sale, that's kind of wasted time. And if you go next door and a competitor says, hey, you want to buy my car? You say, sure, I've already drove it. I've already learned all about it. But that person just asked for the sale. And also take note of your competitors. If they aren't asking for the sale, you can play that role on the other way. If they're doing all the research, you know, you can say, you know, hey, we're running a special, or, you know, click here, sign up now, follow, you know, register, and you can also pull sales from the other side. So keep that in mind as well. All right. So let's go back to this just a little bit, and let's do just a little bit of, you know, kind of exercise here. So again, our hard sale is going to be our as seen on TV, and our soft sale is going to be our Mr. Rogers, a hey, did you know? So if I said a statement like, let's see, if I said a statement like, we're going to be getting new cars to our car lot next month, what would that be? That'd be our soft sale, because we're just letting them know. We're planting the seed, and that's going to build their curiosity just a little bit, right? Now, if we say something like, click here for 30 days, no interest financing, that's going to be our hard sale, because we're removing that friction and helping them do something right now. So that's really the best way to think about it. If you want an action today, you do a hard sale. If you want it in the future, you do a soft sale. But our goal with any call to action should be, we're helping people down the sales funnel by removing the friction with our call to actions. All right, we have about 10 minutes left today. So I would love to open it up for some discussion and some questions. Before we end today though, and really get into this discussion, I just want to remind you again, these are the 2 classes next Wednesday, the value of customer experience, and then the 28th, the following Wednesday, a shift toward good. They're both at 9 o'clock right here. So I would encourage you to continue investing in your education and come back the next 2 weeks. So, all right, let's use this last 10 minutes and kind of have some good discussion. Are there any questions off the bat or anything we'd like to talk about?
You know, something that I'm Darlene. Hi.
Hi.
Something that I've always struggled with is you can get the quote, you can get the contract, but there's just that last dragging conversation to get the signature on the line. So how do you better, and I like the recommendation to not look at it as being pushy, but looking at it as how to be helpful. So that's a good angle that I can really embrace. I can do that instead of feeling like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go back and ask for, did you get it signed or is it signed? But it's if you need the work, you got to get it signed.
Yeah, and I think if you look at it as removing friction, and I think people understand where you're coming from. So, and I think that follow-up is so important because if you send out the quote and you've taken all the work to do the discovery, all the work, all the work, and then it's like that last step. So I think I think people appreciate when you follow up. And oftentimes people are just busy or whatever it is. Maybe they have a little bit of friction. Maybe you say, hey, I know I sent that over. I was just following up, is there any way I can help you? Is there anything, I see you haven't signed your contract yet. Is there anything I can do to help you with that process? And it might be something as silly as, oh yeah, I meant to get that in the mail, but I just had foot surgery and I can't drive to the post office. It could be like, oh, if you could just scan that in, or I could swing by and get it. Sometimes there's friction that we don't know about. And so it might even be just calling from a place of good and just saying, is there anything I can do to help you? And sometimes it's a tech issue. I'm trying to scan this, but I can't figure it out, and it might be something like, do you know what? Don't scan it, just mail it in. Oh, thank you. So oftentimes it's just that one piece of friction that is stopping someone, so it's just more problem solving. If you think of it more as, instead of sales, as problem solving, that's going to help you. And again, trying to ask people ahead of time, we'll have this contract. Would you rather me mail it or email it? Sometimes being proactive and knowing your audience a little bit ahead of time might help with that friction, because if you email something to someone, but they're not good with computers, that's putting friction in the way. We just did a lot of work with a physical therapy office, and we were working with a set of 6 doctors, and we assumed they were all, young, well-educated, great people. And we'd say, yeah, all you need to do is download the PDF. And to them, that was like speaking Greek to them. Like, we assumed that to download a PDF is not that big of a deal, but then you think that they don't work behind the computer all day. So for them, the thought of downloading a PDF was like, not that they couldn't do it or couldn't figure it out, but it wasn't convenient, where to them, dropping off a PDF would have removed that friction. And sometimes it's silly things like maybe you have to upload your Adobe Acrobat. Maybe your computer's not charged. Maybe you don't know where your charger is. I mean, it could be even friction that has nothing to do with the person. It's just the circumstance.
And you mentioned the 17hats.com. Is that the only site you've used for your proposals, or?
Yeah,
there's pretty friendly.
It is friendly. There's a lot of different sites, a lot of different management sites. We use one called Monday.com to help us with our client management and our project management. But we have found that 17 Hats has the most friendly contracts and quotes. But there's a lot out there. I think QuickBooks even has a quote system. If you're already using QuickBooks, you could use their quote system as well. There's a lot out there, but yeah, we really do like 17 Hats. It's just a subscription based, but it does give us a lot of flexibility as far as quotes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions or discussion items you'd like to have? Josh, did you have anything?
Not in particular. I mean, I'm just soaking it up. I mean, it's
Good.
all really good information.
Good. Yeah.
The
So let's,
kind of the details that you need to really get like in depth with your marketing. You know, it's stuff that we can't learn out here. So it's really good. I'm just trying to soak it up. You know, I do have questions, but nothing right now.
okay. Yeah. Again, I would really challenge you to, when you walk into a grocery store like a Hy-Vee and you need to find something, let's say I need to find a specific brand of salsa. Well, they do all sorts of marketing things. You know, they put things on end caps, they put things on sale, they give you points. Like, they have done a lot to try to figure out. An end cap is for an impulse buyer, because you walk by an end cap, you see chips, you see salsa, you throw them both in your cart, right? I always think of that with like chili. When it's chili season, you go to an end cap, they have your saltine crackers, they have 3 kinds of beans, they have the tomato juice. And those end caps are set up for impulse buyers because it's easy, right? It's fast. I don't have to think about it. And that store has put together the call of action of the end cap because they're putting out the kind of beans they want you to buy. And they're putting out the tomato juice they want you to buy. And they're putting out the saltine crackers they want you to buy. So they have some pull in that call to action of that end cap. They don't just put out a random thing of saltine crackers. They know how much money or sales incentives or whatever they have for that brand. And so if you think of that, you think of s'mores. All the s'mores stuff is always together, where really you have to get graham crackers and chocolate and marshmallows in 3 different aisles. So end caps are set up for, it's a hard sale for an impulse buyer. Buy this right now. We've made it so easy. But then if someone who wants to do their research, even though everything for chili is on that end cap, that person is still gonna walk to the bean aisle because they wanna see all the options of beans. And they wanna look at the different sizes, they wanna look at the different prices, they wanna look at price per ounce, they wanna see if there's things like that. And then they're gonna walk to the separate aisle for the crackers because they don't want just one option. They wanna look at the different options. And so if you think of that, you know, a store like Hy-Vee has done both options because they know that 1/3 of the population is going to want the impulse buy. They're going to buy the chili ingredients off the end cap. 1/3 of the buyers, they're using that as a soft sale. So that makes you think that chili would be good for supper, but they know that those people are still going to go to all 3 aisles because they want to do all the research, and that's okay. And then they also know that there's going to be about 1/3 of the population that's value buyers. And so they're only going to buy that chili. That chili on the end cap is a soft sale. It plants a seed, but they're going to wait. They want something where there's a coupon. You know, you buy this bean and you get this tomato juice for 50 cents off, things like that. And so if we really think of call to actions like a grocery store, you have to appeal to all 3. In some way. And what might be a hard sale to someone might be a soft sale to someone else. And that's okay. You can never have too many soft sales, but just remember that if you're not doing the hard sales, if you're not doing the buy now, if you're not putting everything on an end cap right there, you're missing about 1/3 of the buyers out there. And so again, we're just making it easy. We're removing friction. We're not, there's not a pishy, if you walk up to an end cap, there's not a salesperson trying to sell me on chili. All they're doing is making it easy for me and removing any friction that there might be to walk to 3 different aisles. Does that kind of put that in perspective? So as you're planning out your social media, or let's say that you're doing a trade show is another really good example where you're going to want all 3 options. So if you're doing a trade show, you're going to want a really quick, easy option. If someone wants to sign up at the trade show, you need to have contracts there that day. If they need to book a date, like at a wedding fair show, you need to make sure that you have your calendar ready that day. So at a trade show, you need to be ready for those impulse buyers, and you need to have the call to action. Book today, sign up now. You need to be ready for those buyers, and knowing that about 1/3 of them are going to be at the trade show are going to be wanting to buy that day. you're going to know who they are because they're going to say, can I sign up today? Or how many spots do you have left? Impulse buyers love when you say, they love hearing like only two spots available, or limited options, because they're ready to make that purchase and they feel like they're winning because there's only, you know, they're if they wait, they're going to miss out. And so if you think again of an auction, they're ready that day. So if you're doing a trade show, you need to make it easy. You need to make an end cap sale for impulse buyers. You also need to have information for your people that want to do research. So if they're not ready to commit that day, you can't be high pressure sales. That's going to turn them off. But you need to give them a pamphlet, a website, set up a call with them. You need to let them know that you're willing to do what it takes to give them the information they need as they're making their decision. And then you also are going to have your value people where they might be on the fence, but if you can throw in something that day, that'll make them do it. I used to do a lot of wedding fairs for wedding photography. And again, sometimes just throwing in free mileage would push someone over the edge. And I always kind of laughed at bridal fairs because they'd be comparing myself and another wedding photographer. I might be $1,000 more, but I offered free mileage. And so they'd book me over someone else, when really when you figured out mileage, it would probably work out to about $50. But to them, having free mileage was something that pushed them over the top. So sometimes when we talk about sales, it doesn't mean that you have to be a bargain. You don't always have to be offering bargains. You don't always have to be offering free things. It's just more a perceived value. So it could even be something that you always do. Let's say that you always offer free quotes, something you always do, but maybe you advertise it for 2 months of the year. You know, for January, free quotes the month of January. Again, it's more of a perceived value. We don't want to do anything, any kind of discounts that are going to hurt your business or your bottom line, but a perceived value is often enough to push a value person over the top. So then they can go to, let's say that the wife is a perceived value. They can go to their husband and say, hey, this month they're offering free quotes. It's not going to hurt to get a quote. So that's going to push that value person over the edge to make that move. All right. Did you guys all get some good information today? Some good things to think about? Are there any other questions before we head off today? All right. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at 9 o'clock. And if there's anything beforehand, I'm going to just share this screen one more time. Feel free to email me or call me or reach out directly, and I'd be happy to answer any specific questions. Or if you'd like me to look over any of your call to actions, I'd be happy to do that as well. Oh, I'm also going to include today the link. Hold on just a second. I have the link for today's presentation that I'll include in the chat box, and feel free to, just a second. I'm going to get that link for you. And if you'd like to look back on this presentation, you sure can. Or if you'd like to share it with a friend, let me. Okay, I'm gonna stop my share and go in the chat box. All right, and there's today's link. And if you'd ever rather have a PDF or a different version of the presentation, you can always email me, and I would be happy to email you back a PDF version. So. All right, well, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.